Hello students, good evening everyone. I hope all are doing well. Welcome to Infinity Learn by Sri Chaitanya. This is me Surya, your chemistry faculty from Infinity Learn. So, in the last class we have discussed about the practice questions for the chapter metals and non-metals. Here in this particular session we are going to discuss the chapter acid, base and salts. We are going to discuss about 20 questions from the chapter acid, base and salts. So, those who are watching the particular live, just give me hi in the comment box. Hi Arush, good evening. Okay, I hope you must have revised through the topics we have covered in the concept classes about the acid, base and salts. So we can start the session now. Here is our first question. Give me the answer fast. The first question is acids react with oxides of metals to form salt and two products are forming there. One is salt. What will be the other product whenever the metal oxides are reacting with acids? Okay, Arush is saying water is the correct answer and Ritik is saying option C will be the correct answer. So let's take the answer first. Option B is the correct answer, which means water. As we already studied in the classes, right? Whenever you are taking any of the metal oxides, that will react with acids to form salt and water. For example, if you are taking so what will be our product? I am taking the magnesium oxide along with HCl, hydrochloric acid. What will be our product? Yes, that is the exact reason the oxides of metals are basic in nature, right? That will react with acids to form salt plus water. So here, if you are taking here, you will get the MgCl2, magnesium chloride as a salt plus water will be the product here. Clear? So option D will be our correct answer. Is that clear, Ritik? It's not about the hydrogen, it's about the water. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, the same question is repeated here. The MgO reacts with HCl to form H₂SO₄. What is the name of the salt which is formed between magnesium oxide and the hydrochloric acid? What will be the answer? Okay, I think we have already discussed in the first question about the examples, right? So MgO react with HCl to form MgCl2 or as the salt, right? So option C will be the correct answer. Yes, option C will be the correct answer. No, Arush, this is the oxide of a metal, right? Magnesium is a metal which we have seen in the metals and non-metals. So magnesium oxide is a basic oxide that will react with the hydrochloric acid or any of the acid to form corresponding salt, right? Here it is MgO and HCl. So it will form the MgCl2 as a salt here. Is that clear? Okay, now let me move to the next question. Okay, this is a statement type question. 3 statements are given here. You need to identify whether the statements are true or false or correct or incorrect. First statement is the metals react with acids and liberate hydrogen gas. And the second statement is metal carbonates react with acids and liberate carbon dioxide gas. And the third statement is metal oxides react with acids to form salt and water. Read the question properly. 3 statements are given here. You need to identify whether the statements are correct or wrong. Okay, please give me the answer first. Yes, all 3 are correct, which means option A, right? A, B, C are correct. Let's see what is the answer. Yes, option A is the correct answer. So if you are going to the first statement, the metals react with acids and liberate hydrogen gas, which is we have already seen in the last chapter, metals and non-metals, right? How the metals are reacting with acids. So this is a true statement or the correct statement. Then what about the second statement? The metal carbonates react with acids and liberate carbon dioxide gas. In the case of metal carbonates, there will be the source of carbon dioxide, right? So they will react with the acids to form carbon dioxide gas. So this is also true or correct statement. Then, as we already know, whenever the metal oxides react with acids, these are basic oxides, react with acid to form salt and water. So according to our question, all the three statements are correct, which means option A will be our correct answer. Clear? Now let me move to the next question. Acids react with bases to form salt and water. This reaction is known as. There is a specific term we have studied in the case of reaction of acids and bases. What will be the specific term? The options are given here as combination, decomposition, neutralization and reduction. Okay, many of you are giving me the answer as option C. Let's see what is the answer. Yes, answer C is the correct answer, which means neutralization reaction, right? How this reaction happens whenever the acids or bases reacts. For example, this is a base, right? NaOH plus HCl. This is an acid. It will react to form corresponding salt, right? NaCl. Then H plus from acid combine to form water by using the OH minus in the base, right? So NaCl plus H2. This is a neutralization reaction. In general, acids react with bases to form salt plus water, where the water is forming from the combination of OH from the base as well as H plus from the acid. Clear? Here is our next question. What happens when a solution of an acid is mixed with a solution of a base in a test tube? Okay, Arushi is saying option D is the correct answer. What about others? Let's check what is the answer. Yes, option D is the correct answer, which means 2 and 4. 2 means, as we already know, this is an exothermic reaction, right? Exothermic reaction, which means that the neutralization reaction, the temperature of the solution increases. Then what will happen to the reaction? There is a salt formation happens, right? So 2 and 4 means option D will be our correct answer in the case of neutralization reaction. Okay, Arush, which chapter do you want me to teach? According to your syllabus, only one chapter is remaining, that is carbon and its compounds. And moreover that we have 2 more chapters, classification of elements and periodicity and the chemical bonding. So here is our next question. An aqueous solution turns red litmus to blue. The excess addition of which of the following solution would reverse the change? Read the question properly. I hope you understand the question. Okay, what will be the answer for this question? Yes, again Arushi is saying option D is the correct answer. Let's see what is the answer. Yes, option D is the correct answer, that is hydrochloric acid. So, we already know about the litmus test, right? If you are taking the red litmus, if it is changing the color from red to blue, it will be a basic solution, right? It will be a basic solution. So what is our question is asking about? we need to reverse the change, which means that if you are taking blue litmus, it is turned to red. It is happening by an acidic solution, right? It will happen in the case of an acid solution or acidic cases. So, among these, baking powder, lime and ammonium hydroxide solutions are the basic only. So, the only acid given in the options is hydrochloric acid. Is that clear? Yes, acid changes blue litmus to red. So, option D will be the correct answer. Okay, now let me move to the next question. The question is, the acid present in tomato is? Four options are given here: methanoic acid, oxalic acid, acetic acid and lactic acid. What will be the answer for this question? Which is the acid present in the case of tomato? Okay, most of you are giving me the answer as option B. Yes, option B is the correct answer, that is oxalic acid. So we need to get an idea about which are the different types of acids present in different, example in the case of fruits, milk and everything. So you must have an idea about the different acids present in the different components. So oxalic acid is present in the case of tomato. Then what about acetic acid? Is there any example for the acetic acid? Real life example. Okay, I hope you must have idea about the vinegar. Vinegar is chemically acetic acid. So here our answer is option B. Clear? Yes. The next question is, which of the following is used for dissolution of gold? Dissolution of gold. Okay, what will be the answer for this question? Yes, option D will be the correct answer, that is aqua regia. Aqua regia is a solution which contains both concentrated nitric acid as well as HCl combination, right? HNO3 dot HCl combination is known as the aqua regia. It has the capacity to dissolve gold. Generally, gold will not dissolve in any of the solution, any of the acids or bases. But in the case of aqua regia only, it will dissolve. Dissolution happens, right? So option D will be our correct answer. Okay, Arush, you are asking about the case of acid solution, right? In the case of acid solution, we are taking blue litmus. What is our question is asking? General case is given here, an aqueous solution turns red litmus solution to blue. What you have to find? We need to find out the reverse the change. Reverse the change means blue litmus to red. Clear? First case it is red litmus to blue, which is for the basic solution. The reverse change means blue litmus to red. As we already know, in the case of acidic solution, we are using blue litmus, which will change the color from blue to red. Blue to red. Clear? Okay. Here is our next question. Again, statements are given here. The first statement is acids react with metal to produce hydrogen gas. And the statement B is HNO3 is an example of an acid. And the last statement, alcohol and phenols are acids. Alcohol and phenols are acids. Read the question properly. You need to check whether these statements are correct or wrong. What will be the answer? Yes, option A will be the correct answer, which means all the three statements are correct. So if you are asking about the first statement, acids react with metal to produce hydrogen gas, which we have already studied in the second chapter as well as third chapter, right? So this is also true statement or correct statement. Then in the case of statement B, HNO3. HNO3 means nitric acid, right? So this is an acid. This is an example of an acid. So this is also true. And what about the case of third statement, alcohol and phenols? What do you mean by alcohol and what do you mean by phenols? Okay, I will just give a brief introduction for the alcohol. If any of the compound or component which is containing OH group as the functional group is known as alcohols. And for example, in the case of phenol, it is a benzene ring with OH group. These are also a type of alcohols. So this is the alcohol. In an alkyl group, OH group is attaching. In the case of an aromatic ring, there is an OH group is attaching. That is known as the phenols. Just give a brief idea about that. So in the case of alcohol and phenols, we are seeing an OH group, right? In the case of OH group, we will have an hydrogen atom, right? We will have an hydrogen atom. So according to our concept, the acids are H plus donors, right? Acids are H plus donors. So it can donate the H plus ions. So they will act as a slightly acidic in behavior, slightly acidic. Clear? So option A will be our correct answer. All the three statements are correct. Here is our next question. Fresh milk has a pH of 6. To delay its curdling, a chemical substance is added to it, which is, what is the name of chemical substance which we are added to delay the curdling of milk? It is already given the fresh milk has a pH of 6, so that we can identify the nature of the fresh milk. So many of you are giving me the answer as option C, but the correct answer is option B only. That is about the baking soda. Baking soda means it is the sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3. This is a component baking soda, NaHCO3. So if the pH is less than 7, it will be acidic in nature, right? In the case of a milk, it will have the lactic acid which is having the acidic in behavior. So in order to delay the curdling of milk, we are adding a substance which is having the basic behavior. Especially it is given the term as baking soda. If you are adding baking soda to the milk, the curdling of milk get delayed. Clear? So option B will be our correct answer. Here is the next question. When copper oxide reacts with sulphuric acid, the salt formed is. This is a metal oxide and it reacts with the sulphuric acid. What will be the reaction or what will be the chemical formula of the salt formed between the reaction of copper oxide and the sulphuric acid? Yes, most of you are giving me the answer as option A. Let us see what is the answer. Yes, option A is the correct answer, that is copper sulfate. This is the copper oxide, right? Clear? So this will be the reaction copper oxide. This is a metal oxide react with the sulphuric acid to form corresponding salt. that is copper sulfate plus water. So option A will be our correct answer. Here is the next question. Which of the following is a neutralization reaction? Which of the following is a neutralization reaction? 4 different reactions are given here. Just go through the given reactions carefully. Yes, most of you are giving me the answer as option B. Yes, option B is the correct answer here. That is NaOH plus HCl gives NaCl plus H₂O, where NaOH is the base and HCl is the acid. So this is a reaction in which acid and bases reacting to form NaCl, I mean corresponding salt as well as water. So this will be our neutralization reaction. So option B will be the correct answer. Yes. Here is our next question. What happens when carbon dioxide dissolves in water? Carbon dioxide dissolves in water. Different options are given here. One is hydrochloric acid is forming, then sulphuric acid is formed, nitric acid is formed, and carbonic acid is formed. Yes. Okay, again most of you are giving me the answer as option D. So option D is the correct answer. Whenever we are reacting or we are adding carbon dioxide to the water, carbonic acid is forming, which is having the formula of H₂SO₄. H₂SO₄ is known as a carbonic acid. Right, H₂SO₄ is known as a carbonic acid, which is formed by the reaction of carbon dioxide water. This is a reaction which is happening behind the soda water, right, which we are using, soda water or soda. Clear? Yes, here is the next question. Select from the following the statement which is true for bases. Which is true for bases. 4 different statements are given here. You need to identify the correct statement according to the character of bases. Yes, again, Arush is giving answer as option D and Ritik is also giving answer as option D. But our correct answer is option A only, right? Option A only. Okay, there is a small correction here. If you are taking blue litmus to red, it is happening for bases or acids. It is for acids, right? So I think this is a mistake in the options given. So correct answer will be become red litmus to blue. Then all the bases are bitter in taste and turn red litmus to blue. Here also we cannot say this is the one. Acids is having the sour taste. So option A will be the correct answer if you are changing the statement as red litmus to blue. Clear now? Yes, in the case of option D, we cannot predict the color of phenolphthalein in the case of bases because phenolphthalein shows pink color in the case of acidic solution. Whenever it is changes from acid to bases, it will become colorless. So option A will be the correct answer if the statement is changed from red litmus to blue. I hope you understand. Here is the next question. The acid produced in our stomach during digestion of food is? Yes, Arish, we have more time here. So I will be, in the next class also, I will be coming back with the JEE Mains question also. This is like the very basic question from all the chapters. Once we complete the 3 chapters, I will go for that. The acid produced in our stomach during the digestion of food is? Yes, option D is the answer, that is hydrochloric acid. So in order to answer these type of questions, you must have idea about the different acids which is present in the case of different components like milk, fruits and everywhere. So here option D will be the correct answer, that is hydrochloric acid present in your stomach during digestion. If you are not eating any food for a long time, hydrochloric acid is produced there in the stomach. Clear? So here is our next question. The name of the salt used to remove permanent hardness of water is? Permanent hardness of water is? Arush, please choose any one of the option. So option C is the correct answer. That is sodium carbonate decahydrate or Na2CO3 dot 10H2O. I hope you must have the idea of chemical names of these components, right? What you call it as a sodium bicarbonate. What is the chemical name or the common name for the sodium bicarbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate? So here, in order to remove the permanent hardness of water, we are using the washing soda. The washing soda is commonly known as a sodium carbonate decahydrate or Na2CO3 dot 10H2. This is a common name which is given. It is the decahydrate in which 10 moles of water is present. So you need to memorize the term like this only, Na2CO3 dot 10H2. This is known as the washing soda. Then what about here in the case of sodium bicarbonate, it is known as the baking soda. So we have already studied 5 different components, right? 5 different components in the case of, in the chapter of acid base and salts. One is baking soda, washing soda, then gypsum, plaster of Paris and so on. So keep a note over that. You will be getting direct statement type questions from these chemical name or the common name of the compounds. Here is the next question. Salt A, commonly used in food products. It is a reactant to produce salt B, used in the kitchen for making tasty and crispy pakoras. Salt B on heating converts into another salt C, which is used in the manufacturing of glass. What will be the salts A, B and C respectively? Read the question properly. A narration is given here. First salt is the one which is commonly used in our food products, which is converting to the another salt B, which is used in the kitchen for making tasty and crispy pakoras, and the salt B on heating produces another salt C, which is used in the case of manufacturing of glass. So there is no correct answer I have seen in the comment box. So option D will be our correct answer, that is NaCl, NaHCO3 and Na2CO3. So here NaCl means salt which is commonly used in our food products, that is known as the table salt, right? Table salt NaCl. Whenever it is reacting, it will form another salt known as the NaHCO3, that is the baking soda, which is used in the crispy and tasty pakoras in the kitchen. So it will be the baking soda NaHCO3, which then on heating we will produce another component known as Na2CO3, right? Na2CO3, sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate. The salt C will be sodium carbonate or Na2CO3. So you can expect these type of questions in the case of acid, base and salts. You may get the narration type questions so that we can identify the different salts here. Maybe you may get the question about the reaction in the case of these particular question. Clear? Here is the next question. An aqueous solution of salt shows an orange-red color when a drop of universal indicator is added to it. The salt is made up of. Read the question properly. The question is asking about whenever, if you are taking any of this salt, right, any of the salt, whenever we are adding a universal indicator. Universal indicator means Arush, are you asking about the case of Na2CO3.10H2O? How they become 10H2O, right? So in the case of particle compound, they will be given in the case of their water also. For example, if you are taking about the case of Na2CO3.10H2O, is already given in the case of it contain 10 moles of 10 moles of water, 10 H2O. For example, in the case of plaster of Paris, you have seen CaSO4.half H2O only, right? So I don't know about them. Is there any trick or is there any particular method to find out the water of crystallization there? You need to just memorize the chemical formula over there. In the case of gypsum, it will be CaSO4.2H2O only. Okay, I think in the case of these 5 compounds, right, gypsum, plaster of Paris and washing soda and baking soda, there will be the particular name, right? There will be the particular name we need to memorize only. Yes, we need to memorize only the 5 terms, right? Okay, what will be the answer? Okay, Arushi is saying option C is the correct answer and Karthik is saying option A will be the correct answer. So let us see what is the answer. Option C will be our correct answer, which means a strong acid and a weak base. So what do you mean by the universal indicator? Generally the universal indicator means it contains a major number of dyes. We cannot predict it is in phenolphthalein or methyl orange. And there is a point you have to keep in mind that whenever we are using any of the, if you are using the universal indicator to any of the solution, it will turns orange or red in the acidic solution only. Universal indicator gives orange or red color in the case of acid solution. Is that clear? So if you are taking any of the acid solution, it will turns the red color while we are adding universal indicator. So as we already know, the salt is having the nature of acidic nature, right? Acidic nature. And we have already seen like that in the case of neutralization reaction, whenever this base and acid combine to form, only they will form the salt, right? They will form the salt. So in order to get the acidic solution, one of the acid or base should be strong, right? Is that clear? For example, if you are taking strong acid and strong base, we cannot predict the strength of the salt. It will be neutral. Okay, is that clear? If you are taking the base or acid as a strength, will be very strong. The resulting salt will be neutral only. Then in the case of weak acid and weak base, again it is also will be the neutral one, I think. Then strong acid and weak base means we can predict the behavior of the salt from the strength of the acid or base. If any one of the base or acid is strong, it will be the nature of the salt, right? For example, in the case of strong acid and weak base, here the strength of acid is more than that of the base, right? That's why it is forming an acidic salt. I hope you are getting my point. Then what about the here case, the last case, weak acid and strong base, what will be the nature of salt forming? We need to check the nature of strong acid or base in the case of salt. So what will be the nature of salt formed between weak acid and strong base? In the case of acidic salt, it will be strong acid. So in the case of strong base, it will be basic salt, right? Are you getting my point? Okay, fine. Similarly, if you are taking the universal indicator in the case of base solution, it will turns blue color. Clear? So you must have idea about what is the color change of different indicators. What about the universal indicators? What about the phenolphthalein? What about the methyl orange? Right? So now let me move to the next question. Here is our next question. Which base is formed when calcium oxide dissolves in water? Calcium oxide dissolves in water. Okay, Arish is already giving the answer as option C. What about others? Yes, Ritik is also giving option C as the correct answer. Let us see what is the answer. Yes, option C is the correct answer, which means calcium hydroxide, right? Calcium oxide plus water gives calcium hydroxide. So if you are asking about the particular name or the common name for the calcium hydroxide, what will be the common name? Calcium hydroxide. Have you familiar with this? The term slaked lime. Slaked lime is known as the calcium hydroxide. Yes. What about the calcium oxide? Quicklime, right? So don't get confused with the common names of these particular oxides. If it is calcium oxide, it will be quicklime. If it is calcium hydroxide, it will be slaked lime. One more thing is there. You need to get confused here. In the case of calcium carbonate, it is known as limestone. Just keep a note on that. Is that clear? Yes, these are the other names for the calcium carbonate. We can call it as marble, crushed eggshells, limestone and calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is a chemical name and limestone is a common name. Clear? Here is our next question. Study the following table and choose the correct option. I hope you can see the table properly. The first column it is given about the name of salt, and second column it is parent acid, third column it is parent base, the last column it is the nature of the salt. Study the table properly, then let me know the correct option given here. So which one will be the correct option? In the case of CaCO3, which means chemical substance are combined, right? So I can call it as the chemical name. But in the case of limestone, it is the common name for that. From the chemical name, we can understand the formula of the compound, right? Calcium carbonate means it contains calcium 2 plus and carbonate ion. Clear, Arush? Okay, parent acid and parent base. If you are undergoing the neutralization reaction with the acid and base, right? Corresponding salt is formed. So their parents are the parent acid and the bases, right? Clear? So here the first salt is given as NaCl, and the parent acid is HCl and parent base is NaOH. Here you need to check that if you are reacting with these parent acid and parent base, are you getting the same salt or not? Then check about their nature. Okay, which one will be the correct answer here? So option D will be the correct option here. Let us check with the first case, sodium chloride, right? There is a simple formula we need to find out, not a formula, simple trick to find out the parent acid and parent base. So if you are giving the corresponding salt, right? From the name we have the idea about how to create the chemical formula of the compound by getting the name, right? Sodium chloride means it is NaCl. So what you have to do, just add water. It will be HOH, right? In the case of water, it will be H and OH. What you have to do, just crisscross the terms, because Na is positive in nature, right? Na has the charge of +1, so it will react with the OH minus. So what you are getting the base here, it will be NaOH, right? It will be NaOH. Then what will be the remaining acid? Crisscross, right? H plus Cl. So it will be HCl. So these are the parent base as well as parent acid for the NaCl salt. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. If it is clear, just let me know how to find out the parent base as well as parent acid for the sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate means Na2CO3, right? Na2CO3. So I am adding water, which means H plus and OH. So it will crisscross. So it will form NaOH is the base and H2CO3 is the acid, right? Carbonic acid plus NaOH. So we already know, right? H2CO3 and NaOH are the parent acid as well as base for the sodium carbonate. Similarly, if you are taking through these methods, we will get this. For sodium sulfate, H₂SO₄ will be the parent acid and NaOH will be the parent base. And for sodium acetate means CH3COH, as we already know, right? This is the CH3COH is the acetic acid, in which in the acetic acid, if the H plus is removed or replaced by the sodium atom, it will form the sodium acetate. Okay, it will form the sodium acetate. So what we have to do, H and OH, right? Keep a note over that. While you are doing the just crisscross, you will get mistake here. You need to check with the which one is the cation as well which one is the anion. In the case of sodium acetate, CH3CO minus and Na plus. So this minus will go with the hydrogen here and Na will go with the OH here. Just by the crisscross method, we will not get the answer. The main thing is that we need to crisscross with the positive with negative and negative with the positive. Clear? So these are the CH3COH, which means acetic acid, and NaOH will be the parent acid and base for the sodium acetate. Now how we can predict the nature of the salt? How we can predict the nature of the salt? As we already mentioned in the previous questions, In which of the following, I mean, the nature of the salt can be predicted from the strong acid or base. For example, this is a strong acid and strong base, right? Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid and sodium hydroxide is a strong base. So, if any of the salt is formed between strong acid and strong base, strong acid and strong base, it will form neutral salt, right? Strong and strong, it will form neutral salt. Then, what about here? Sodium carbonate, H₂SO₄ is the comparatively very weak acid, right? Weak acid. Here it is strong base. So, depending upon the strong base, we will predict the nature here. It will be basic in nature. It will be basic in nature. Clear? Then, what about the third case? What about the third case? H₂SO₄ is the strong acid, right? Sulphuric acid is the strongest acid. Then NaOH is the strong base. So, if you are again comparing strong acid and strong base, what will be the nature of the salt? Neutral, right? Strong acid and strong base will combine to form a neutral salt. So, this will be neutral here instead of acidic. What about the last one? CH3COH, acetic acid, as we already know, vinegar we are using in the home, in our home, right? So, it will be less acidic in nature. Less acidic in nature means it is a weak acid. Then NaOH is a strong base. Depending upon the strong one, we will define the nature of the salt. So, it will be strong here, right? Strong here. So, definitely the nature of the salt forming here will be the basic. So, option D will be our correct answer, correct option given here. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay, we can just memorize the carbonic acid, right? H₂SO₂ as our real life example. If it is a strong acid, are we able to drink the soda water? No, right? So, we can just memorize that if you are asking about the carbonic acid, it is connected with the soda water. If it is a strong acid, we can't drink. So, we are using the soda water as a drinking purpose. So, it will be, which means it will be a weak acid. Clear? Then NaOH and KOH are the strong bases. You need to memorize here. In your complete NCERT textbook, you will get the idea about the different bases having strong bases, weak bases, strong acid and weak acid. Just go through that. Okay, I hope this understand to everyone. Here is our last question. Yes, it will be easy to connect with the real life example. Chemistry we can connect with the real life examples. So, in order to learn the new trick, it is better to memorize with the real life examples. For example, in the case of acetic acid, which is used in the home, so it will be a weak acid. Again, in the case of carbonic acid, soda water, weak acid, right? So, NaOH, it will be, we cannot connect with that. So, we can just from our knowledge, we can say that NaOH and KOH will be the strong base. So, what will be the answer for this question? There will be two sub-questions given here. A white colored powder is used by doctors for supporting fractured bones. The first sub-question is, write chemical name and formula of the powder. Chemical name and formula of the powder. The second sub-question is, when this white powder is mixed with water, a hard solid mass is obtained. Write balanced chemical equation for the change. Read the question properly. The use of particle powder is also given, supporting fractured bonds. Okay, just recall the terms of salts we have studied in the chapter, the last part of the acid, base and salts. We have seen different types of salts, right? Okay, Arush is giving different options here, different answers here. First one it is calcium oxide and calcium hydroxide. So, I will give the answer first. Did you aware about that? Did you familiar with the plaster of Paris? Okay, can we use the calcium oxide for the fractured bonds? Arush? No, right? So plaster of Paris, as we are, if we have any breakage in the case of fractured bonds, if you are going to the doctor, they will wrap up it with a white powdered substance that is known as the plaster of Paris. So the chemical name of the compound is plaster of Paris. What is their formula? This is the plaster of Paris having the formula of calcium sulphate, CSO4 dot half H₂O, hemihydrate, right? So, if you are mixed this plaster of Paris with water, it will form a hard mass known as gypsum. So, this is a specific term we have studied in the last part of the chapter, acid, base and salts. So, if you are taking CSO4 dot half H₂O plus water, it will form CaSO4 dot 2 H₂O. Yes. Clear? So you need to memorize the balanced equation for the reaction of plaster of Paris with water. So this is the chemical formula of the plaster of Paris, that is CaSO4 dot half H₂O. Whenever it is reacting with 3/2 moles of water, it will form the CaSO4 dot 2 H₂O, which is known as the gypsum. Is that clear? Is that clear? Just let me know in the comments. Arush? Okay. So far we have discussed about 20 questions from the chapter acid, base and salts. I hope I must have covered almost all the important topics from the same chapter acid, base and salts. The next class in the tomorrow I will be coming back with the same type of practice questions from the chapter chemical reactions and equations. Then after that I will be taking the concept classes. Okay, which chapter you want to start first? Carbon and its compounds or classification of elements? Just let me know in the comments. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the session. If you really like the session, please hit the like button, subscribe our channel and share this particular session to your friends also. Then if you want to get the session PDF, you need to join our Telegram channel, Infinity Learn 9 and 10 channel also. So just join our Telegram channel for the notes. Okay, periodic classification. After completing the practice session, I will be back with the periodic classification chapter. So see you all in the next class by tomorrow, same time 5 to 6. Till then, bye bye all of you. Thank you so much.